Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The ceremony will begin in approximately 4 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, the Westlake Class of 2018 graduation ceremony will begin in approximately 2 minutes. Please take your seats at this time.
It does look like a nice size, doesn't it? Hmm? Can you see her at all?
Welcome, family, friends, and distinguished guests. Please bow your heads for a prayer. Dear Lord, we would like to thank you for our time here at Westlake Academy and the opportunities we have been given as students here. We thank you for our teachers who have guided us in learning in and outside of the classroom. We thank you for the opportunities of our near future and that we have found a place where each one of us belongs. We thank you for our family, friends who have supported us, and for those who have not been able to be with us but have watched over lovingly throughout our high school years. We thank you for our parents' love and support as they have made tough decisions to ultimately get us to the place we are today and who have shaped us as the people we have become. We would like to thank you for our classmates, as a lot of us have grown up together and have a unique experience with one another, as well as for the amazing memories and friendships we have made together as we've grown up. It is just by circumstance that we have gone to school together, but each one of us has at least in some way altered one another's experiences. And there's no way that we could be grateful for the close-knit group there's no way we could not be grateful for the close-knit group we've become. Help us to heed the words from 1 Timothy 4:12, to be an example in what we say and the way we live in our love, our faith, and our purity. And finally, help us, Lord, to remember, when we are far from home, a little word of advice from our childhood, from a Curious George book, which really seems to sum up our time here at Westlake. Wisdom begins with being puzzled, but with a little help from your friends, the puzzle pieces begin to fall into place. Thank you for the privilege to be a part of the Westlake Academy class of 2018. Amen.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anand Singh.
And I'm Anna Connolly.
Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now for the Texas Pledge.
Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Please be seated. Good afternoon. My name is Cassie Stoltenberg, and I have the honor of introducing one of the many esteemed guests speaking this afternoon, our Mayor, Laura Wheat. Many know that Mayor Wheat attended the University of Maryland School of Law to practice corporate securities law. She is also the head of on the board of many organizations. To name a few, she's the co-chairwoman of the national and local chapter of the Cancer Support Community and is on the board of the Baylor Regional Medical Center. Aside from her many great accomplishments, Mayor Wheat's generous investment into the Westlake Academy community is what makes Westlake Academy such a wonderful place for its students. Whether it be hosting the annual Welcome to Westlake dinner for new families entering Westlake, or speaking at the NHS induction, Mayor Wheat consistently puts forth effort to make Westlake feel like home. Just the other day, I remember she said hi and asked me how I was when I was around walking in Westlake. Without further ado, I would love to welcome Mayor Laura Wheat to the stage.
Thank you so much. On behalf of the Westlake Academy Board of Trustees and the Westlake Town Council, it is my distinct privilege to welcome you today to the commencement exercises for the Westlake Academy class of 2018. I am joined today on the dais by my friends and colleagues. I have Mayor Pro Tem Carol Langdon, council members and board members Rick Renhack, Elisa Belvedere, proud dad of a Westlake graduating senior, Wayne Stoltenberg, and of course Tom Breimer, who is our town manager and Westlake school superintendent, Dr. Michelle Bryson, our Westlake Academy Executive Director, Stacy Stoyanov, our DP Principal and Secondary Principal. We have Rod Harding, who's with us as our Primary Years Principal, and Mr. Carl Zippen, who is our Collegiate Advisor. And I'm just delighted that we have with us today to deliver our keynote address, Mr. Chris Norton. Thank you to each of you for being here. So parents, it's here, graduation day. You have made it. You know, for some of you, this is your first high school graduation. For others of you, it is your last. Some of you are somewhere in the middle. But for all of you, this is one emotional day. I say without hesitation, I am just incredibly grateful to not be in your shoes. I am not certain that I could do it again. I distinctly remember preparing to brace myself for one of our son's high school graduations when I came across something in a daily devotional that said, graduations are commencements. My first thought was that I needed to find a new set of devotionals because that was crazy. Commencements, I always thought, were about beginnings. I looked up the word, commencement. Yes, there it is. The act or incidence of beginning. And this graduation that I was preparing for had nothing to do with a beginning. On the contrary, it was a giant ending. I was quite clear that my life as I knew it ended on graduation day. And then it hit me. That graduation wasn't about me. Go figure. And just like that graduation wasn't about me, sadly, this graduation and this commencement and this beginning may not be much about you either. Rather, it is about these amazing young men and women who sit before you about ready to explode with excitement and joy and anticipation. It is indeed their commencement. It is their beginning. And I know that none of you would have it any other way. You have been working 18 years or so for this moment. You have given it all you've got. And before we go any further today, I want you to take a good look. I want you to take a good look at what your tireless effort, your limitless love, your undying devotion has created. For those of you who were there on Thursday night, you know what my mom would say. My mom would say, "You done good." And you have. You have done good. Congratulations to you. And to my senior friends, I'd like to share with you a definition of the word faith that I came across several years ago, in which I have referred to many times since then. And it goes something like this. When you come to the edge of all the light you have ever known, and it is time to step forth into the darkness of the unfamiliar. Faith is knowing, really knowing, that one of two things will happen. Either you will be given solid ground upon which to stand, or you will be taught to fly. Well, here you are, sitting on the edge of all the light that you have ever known. And as you walk across this stage to accept your Westlake Academy diploma, you literally will be taking your first steps into the darkness of the unfamiliar. Well, lucky you. You have both a belt and suspenders. You have the love and support of the many people in this room who are here today to cheer you on. That love and support will undoubtedly provide you with the solid ground on which you can stand. And your international baccalaureate education that you have received at Westlake Academy has undoubtedly given you wings to fly. Have faith. You're ready. We can't wait to see how high you will soar. On behalf of the Westlake Academy Board of Trustees and the Westlake Town Council, I offer you our most sincere congratulations on this, your commencement. Thank you.
The class of 2018 Salutatorian, Riley Timmerman, began her journey at Westlake Academy as a kindergartner. While in our primary years program, Riley met many wonderful teachers and met her best friends that she remains close with to this day. While in the middle years program, or MYP as we call it, she was inducted into the National Junior Honor Society, where Riley served as vice president, and later was inducted into the National Honor Society. Riley excelled in athletics while in the MYP. She made the varsity tennis team where they took home a regional title and was a member of the varsity basketball squad, which won a state championship. By the time Riley reached her diploma program years in grades 11, 12, Riley's love of learning continued to be clearly demonstrated in her academic pursuits. But in addition to Riley's outstanding performance in the International Baccalaureate classroom, Riley has shined in other ways academically. Riley sat for advanced placement exams in microeconomics, human geography, world history, U.S. history, biology, and English literature. In fact, Riley is an AP Distinguished Scholar. Her thirst for knowledge and learning has also been shown by the fact that Riley joined the Math Honor Society, where she soon became vice president. And as important as her academic pursuits have been to her, Riley is a balanced learner, something we strongly encourage as part of Westlake Academy's IB Learner Profile. Examples of Riley's multiple talents and dimensions as a balanced learner include her extracurricular activities while in the rigorous diploma program. These include continued achievements on the basketball and tennis courts, placing in women's doubles, becoming team captain of the Academy's girls basketball team her junior year, and finishing with 2 state championships. One of the many highlights for Riley over the course of her time at Westlake Academy has been her receiving the prestigious Blacksmith Award. Next year, Riley will continue her academic pursuits at Southern Methodist University, studying business at the highly regarded Cox School of Business. Mr. Talley, I don't believe it's unreasonable for me to assume that Riley's enrollment in this program is an extension of the passion for economics that she developed while in your class. That's high praise for Mr. Talley. But we know that for all the DP teachers, in fact, for all of our Westlake Academy teachers, they've all made those type of impacts on Riley during her time at Westlake Academy. Riley will be part of the Hilltop Scholars Program at the Cox BBA's as a Cox BBA Scholar, which is a renowned business honors program. I was curious about this. What is this Hilltop Scholars Program? So taking a look at the SMU website, I found it's one of SMU's most distinctive campus communities. And to be selected for it, one must demonstrate on their application an interest in service and leadership. This speaks volumes about the kind of person Riley Timmerman is. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the podium our 2018 Salutatorian, Riley Timmerman.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be able to speak with all of you today. To begin, I would like to thank my parents, family, friends, the board, administration, and my teachers for everything they have done to get me and my classmates here today. But most importantly, I would like to congratulate the class of 2018. We made it. When I first found out that I was a salutatorian, to be honest, I was pretty excited and proud of myself. But after about 2 seconds, when Mr. Tippin reminded me about the speech I'm currently making, that feeling disappeared. While being salutatorian is certainly an honor, a speech seemed like an interesting reward. I learned of it in the midst of studying for my IB exams. I was focusing on finishing my exams and getting to finally turn off my brain, but instead I got another homework assignment that I had not anticipated, and actually an intimidating and a bit scary assignment. However, I didn't feel sorry for myself for too long, as I have since realized that this is not a burden, but a blessing to be able to share my sincere gratitude for all of the memories of the last 13 years of my life with all of you amazing people. Once I got over my procrastination and fear to write the speech today, and the seemingly insurmountable senioritis that set in about 2 years ago, I had to admit I had no clue what to say. I have no pearls of wisdom. I have no secrets to a successful and happy life, as I myself have barely even lived. So I won't try to teach a life lesson to you all. If anything, most of you have life lessons to teach me. However, there is one thing that I would say I am extremely qualified to talk about, the class of 2018. Over the last 13 years, I have learned so much, more than I ever needed or frankly wanted to know, about the people seated beside me. Some of them I have sat next to since kindergarten, or 5th grade, or 9th, or maybe even the last couple years, but no matter how long I have known them, I consider all of them my family. To describe the class of 2018 is difficult. Some might say that we're stubborn, but I would say that we're determined. We have learned the power of teamwork over the years. In 7th grade, we rationalized that if we all collectively fail an exam, they can't put it in the grade book, right? And together we learned that yes, I can, and they will. Or in 10th grade, when we all relentlessly attempted to get out of our personal project, and after finding out that pigs don't fly, we scrambled to get the entire thing done the night before. Or just this year, we all asked, if we just ignore our theory of knowledge essays and extended essay deadlines, they'll disappear, right? Again, we learned that no, they won't. I would like to apologize to our teachers for every time they had to tell us to turn in an essay, and to Ms. Maru, as we collectively decided to ignore our CAS until about a week ago. While we have occasionally tried to scam the system and learned valuable life lessons while trying to do so, to say that we don't put in effort would be completely false. The students seated beside me are some of the most impressive individuals that put 110% into everything that is important to them. Their work ethic is evident by their past accomplishments and their future plans. From being national merit scholars, starting and running their own clubs, participating in hours of community service and winning state championships, to getting into amazing schools like Stanford or UPenn, or becoming a member of the Armed Forces at West Point, or being dedicated enough to get into volleyball, or to get into a college to play volleyball, or attending any of the amazing programs that the rest of my classmates will be at. I don't think any of us knew what we were getting into when we agreed to be IB students, but we have tackled every challenge and curveball it threw at us to be where we are today. I am so proud to be a part of this amazing group of students. Now that I am finally leaving, a quote that I never used to understand seems very clear to me. You never know that you're in the good times until they are gone. That seems so relevant to me now. Not that college will not be part of the good times. On the contrary, I think it will be a great time, if you know what I mean. But rather in the sense that I have not truly appreciated how good the last 13 years have been until I'm leaving. Yes, there have been some bad times, like any time someone asked me to write an essay. I'd like to apologize to Ms. Harrell for having to read all of my essays, as some of them were quite terrible. Or any homework assignment I had to do. Oh, and just can't forget senior retreat. But there have also been amazing times, like the feeling when we finished 15 IB exams, and every priceless memory I have with my friends. My time here has been overwhelmingly positive, and I am so thankful for that. In the future, if I have teachers and friends that are even half as good as the ones I have here, I will again be blessed. In conclusion, I would like to thank everyone that is here to support us and everyone that made this day possible. In particular, I would like to again thank the DP teachers, as you guys cannot imagine everything that they have done to help us get here today. And finally, another congratulations for the class of 2018 for all of their hard work and accomplishment.
The 2018 Westlake Academy Valedictorian, John Luke Miller, also joined Westlake Academy as a kindergartner. He describes his years in the primary years program as an adventure, recalling a fondness for his teachers, his time developing projects with his classmates, and of course playing the piano, which he still does today. During his time in the Academy's middle years program, or MYP as we call it, John Luke became involved in student council as a representative and later as an historian, where he aspired to one day move up the ladder of student government, which he fulfilled that goal by being voted as student council president, where he served in that role by organizing elections and school events, fundraising, and community service projects. It was also an MYP where John Luke first joined the math club and learned many exciting, what he terms as math tricks, from his former teacher, Mr. Simon Aesthorpe, who I saw in the back of the room here, that he still uses to this day. Not Mr. Aesthorpe, John Luke, but maybe Mr. Aesthorpe too. During his years in the Diploma program, John Luke took higher level IB courses in chemistry, English literature, U.S. history, economics, and math. John Luke's advanced placement or AP courses have included world history and human geography, but he's also sat for AP exams in U.S. history, English literature, physics AB, and macro-microeconomics. He is also a member of the Math Honor Society and has participated in the AMC math competition. During his time at Westlake Academy, John Luke has also shown the balanced learner aspect of the IB learner profile by his many pursuits outside the classroom, such as joining the junior varsity and later varsity soccer teams. He is also a varsity letterman in tennis and was a member of the varsity soccer team, which won a state title. John Luke is also the founder and president of the Westlake Academy Ping Pong Club, which, John Luke, I will tell you, when you're studying for finals in the dorm in college, ping pong is a valuable skill to use at your study breaks. And in addition to these sports activities, John Luke found time to take part in the high school aerospace scholars program at the Johnson Space Center. This fall, John Luke plans include majoring in mechanical engineering at Stanford University, and is our first Westlake Academy graduate to be accepted to this prestigious school. John Luke plans to minor in aeronautical engineering and finance and is targeting a career in aircraft design. Who knows what kind of aircraft John Luke might design in the future? Maybe it'll be the Uber air taxi that you read about that's being planned for Dallas-Fort Worth. Or maybe the spacecraft we will use to go to Mars. But whatever John Luke ends up pursuing, we know he will reach for the stars, something we encourage all our Westlake Academy graduates to do. So ladies and gentlemen, would you please join me in welcoming to the podium our 2018 Westlake Academy Valedictorian, John Luke Miller.
All right, I found it. Upside down. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank you all for being here and by default agreeing to hear me speak. I do have a speech, I promise, but before I get to that, on the way here I was listening to Cat Stevens, for all you Cat Stevens fans out there, and he had some words of advice for all of us, or up here, especially those of us who haven't really discovered what we want to do yet. So here goes. It's not time to make a change, just relax and take it easy. You're still young and that's your fault. There's so much you have to know. But take your time and think a lot. Think of everything you've got, for you'll still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not. Okay, so now we've got through the deep stuff, we can get to my speech. I'm not a man of great words, but I'd like to make a point today that is both relatable and true, and if it's not either of those two things, then perhaps I'm alone in my beliefs, or just maybe, being an IB student means you know the secrets of the universe and they're indecipherable to you parents. Regardless, I hope not to bore my audience, and thus I'd like to start with something fun. If you would all please look underneath your seats, you'll notice that there's nothing there. All right, I'm just kidding, but I do in fact need your help as an audience, you guys especially with this next bit, because I'd like to discuss the distinction between luck and intention. This explanation may not be the most concise, but I think it'll be the most exciting. Firstly, who here is a Star Wars fan? Please raise your hands. You probably thought you wouldn't have to raise your hands again for school, but I got you. All right, who here is an original trilogy fan? All right, I'm looking for someone who can recall what Obi-Wan or Ben Kenobi has to say about luck. Garrett? Yes. In my experience, there's no such thing as luck, he says, and we all know that Obi-Wan is very experienced. Now, keep in mind, I did not bring up this line to say that I'm up here making Star Wars references just because of a reason completely isolated from luck. Of course, luck had something to do with it, but more on this later. Moving on to another one of my favorite movies. Who here likes Kung Fu Panda? All right, well, with each movie I bring up, I assume less and less people will have seen them, but if you haven't seen this Jack Black classic, I highly recommend. This movie contains within its Kung Fu legends the next quote that I will need. Does anyone remember what Master Oogway has to say about Tanner? There are no accidents. That's right, he says there are no accidents. This, of course, also requires a bit of context to be taken seriously, because we all know that people make mistakes all the time. I, for one, do very frequently. But Master Oogway means something slightly different. My third and final movie quote, I promised myself no more than 3, is from no other than Jurassic Park 3. While not as popular as the first one or the book by Michael Crichton, this movie also contains wisdom that I seek to repurpose. Dr. Alan Grant once said that some of the worst things imaginable have been done with the best intentions. He, of course, is talking about the tragedy of Jurassic Park. I am talking about, however, something different. I believe that some of the best things imaginable can happen with no intention at all. If you can't tell where I'm going with this triplet of favorite movie quotes, I simply mean to say that I'm up here today as valedictorian, not because I sought out to be. My position as part of the grade is not because I wanted to be the valedictorian, but a byproduct of other goals. This reality, however, does not mean that I'm up here because of luck or accident. Combining what Obi-Wan, Oogway, and Dr. Grant have to say, I hope it's clear that good things can happen without intention while also being free from luck or accident. To express this idea in greater clarity, I will use a metaphor. It may be odd the way I construct my example, but I hope it will be enlightening nonetheless. I think for this to work, we have to see high school as a competition. While not the most friendly game, as we all know, it does have players and rules and rule keepers and winners. The competition of high school, as far as I can tell, has a prize that's different for everyone, and winning comes in all shapes and sizes. If we assume for a moment that the grand prize is valedictorian, or first place, we can continue with this metaphor. However, before I go on, I'd like to thank my peers, because a game is only worth winning if it is hard to win. Just as there's valor in victory and sorrow in defeat, I think that the rest of you guys being so hard and working so hard in high school makes it fierce, and therefore, as far as I'm concerned, you've made winning hard. I think a common conception of this aforementioned competition is that all of us students are in a race. We start at the chalk line of effort and have a clear and straight shot to the finish line. When the starting bell goes off, we run for the finish line, and the first one to cross the chalk line is the winner. This metaphor I believe to be quite inaccurate to represent the competition of high school. Instead, let us picture a perfect circle about the size of a football field in diameter. And we all start in the center. We are also all blindfolded. The rule book was written by IB long ago and has been lost for as long as we can remember. If someone did find it, we probably wouldn't be able to decipher it, much less read it, because we're blindfolded. The starting shot rings out, and we all run to the edge of the circle. The first one to cross its border is the winner. Of course, just as we are all now graduating, we all eventually cross the edge of the circle. Some of us may peek under the blindfold, while others may trip and fall in the commotion. Skill has enough to do with victory, but it's really strategy that gets us to the finish line. Once the dust cleared and permission granted, we all lifted our blindfolds. Some of us injured through the gruesome battle towards the freedom, while others completely unscathed. Some had to try their hardest just to get out, while others casually walked to the edge with no care at all. Turns out I made it to the edge first. Hooray. But how could I have known I made it to the edge first? I was blindfolded too. The idea is that I didn't know when or how I would escape or what prize I would win. I just did my best to get out like everyone else. I had a plan to escape that didn't always work because I was blindfolded. I did not intend to be the first one out, but rather wanted to get out as fast as possible. While getting out ASAP may lead to me being the first one to escape and thus claim the prize, I did not necessarily mean this. This, however, does not mean that my escape was lucky. It just means that my strategy and goals lined up enough for me to both escape and to win. While this metaphor may have just been confusing, I think it might have helped. It'll also be helpful for my closing remarks. While IB was responsible for writing the rule book and designing this odd game of blindfolds and circles, it was the teachers of our lovely school who interpreted the IB's handbook and instructed what they knew to us students. The teachers gave us incredible strategy for the game of high school, and if we followed what they said, we probably got out without injury. Teachers, I thank you all for not only helping me, but the entire class, both in and outside the class. Oh, man. Parents are another major contributor to our overall success. While teachers were there to help us learn how to escape without tripping or falling, it was the parents who helped us get up and dust ourselves off if we did. The parents not only encouraged us from the sidelines, guiding us to the edge with supportive words and emotional support, but also had a more direct impact. Long before the game even started, while we were just small kids in a PYP classroom, our parents were out here mowing the field and picking the weeds. They were working from the beginning to increase our chances of victory by tending to our playing field. Most of all, the parents made each and every one of us a pair of running shoes, and I know that my parents have been here for me this whole time, and that my shoes held up very well. I thank the man upstairs for my wonderful teachers, loving parents, and competitive classmates. I would also like to thank you all for at least pretending to like my speech and for enduring its movie references and silly metaphors. I'd like to finish by saying that no matter how many times I messed up during the speech or mistakenly read the wrong lines of this page, Master Oogway and Obi-Wan have my back. There are no accidents, so if I really messed up at all, thank you.
Dear Lord, the battles we go through in life. We ask for a chance that is fair. A chance to earn all our stripes. A chance to do it or dare. If we should win, let it be by the code. With our faith and honor held high. If we should lose, stand by the road. Cheers, victors go by.
Just in a matter of seconds, I went from independent to dependent. I couldn't feel a thing. You know, something I've always done my whole life is to stay positive, stay calm. I just started to cry, and that's when they put me to sleep. I'm not going to be part of the 97% that doesn't recover from this.
A little farther. Good.
I'm going to do what I can to beat it. I had to relearn how to move different parts of my body with what was connected. To be upright, to be standing, was like a sense of freedom. And when I met Emily, everything changed. It was love at first sight for me.
I had a list of what do I want in a guy. And I'm like, whoa, Chris is every single one of these.
I just started verbalizing my friends that I want to walk across the stage of my college graduation.
At this point, we had no idea how he was gonna walk across the stage. He was walking in this big walker. He was working 4 or 5 hours every single day, sometimes even more. Chris had another little plan that I didn't know about.
Please, marry me and share the rest of my life.
Yes.
What was incredible was that the person that was going to walk me across the stage would be my fiance, Emily. I went into that graduation walk knowing I busted myself for years. If I trip and fall, so be it.
Christopher Norton.
A little bit more, a little extra on everything that you do, what you're supposed to do, that's when you can make the most significant impact and the biggest difference. I want to be able to walk Emily down the aisle of our wedding. I'm going to walk her down the aisle some way, somehow, and we're going to go 7 yards. And I want to walk with her side by side. I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Chris Norton.
Thank you. Westlake Academy graduates, family, faculty, I'm simply here to just help you have that faith as you step into that darkness, as your journey is just beginning. And you should be excited, but it's also so full of unknown and darkness. And hopefully after today and hearing my presentation, you'll have some more steps that you can take and be bold in those steps. But I think before I can go to my speech, I think it's very important that everybody can trust me. That as a speaker, you want to know I'm trustworthy. And I figured out a nice little trick how everybody can trust me just by looking at me. You can tell I'm trustworthy because I have clean shoes. Don't trust someone in a wheelchair with dirty shoes. All right? It is really great to be here, and it is an honor. And I traveled in from Florida, and as you can tell, I've been living in Florida for 3 years by my dark tan that I have going. And for me to be here and really make this possible, I do want to introduce one person real quickly in the back is Brooks Wagner. He travels with me in my speaking events as we go across the country, and he really makes it happen for me to be able to get from Florida to here. So I wouldn't be here today without him, and I literally wouldn't be here today without him because he drove me to the airport. So, thanks for that ride. We made it. But I want to take you back to a day that really changed my life forever as an 18-year-old kid. I was a freshman at Luther College, Decorah, Iowa, October 16, 2010. And I had these big plans for myself. I was going to be this all-American football player. I was going to get a business degree, maybe go into law school. I was going to meet the girl of my dreams. And everything up to this point was going according to plan. And in fact, even better plan that I had, that maybe the girl of my dreams would own a lake house. That was another goal of mine. I was wanting to get a lake house. That was just huge for me. And so 5 weeks go by, and I'm playing on all the different special teams units for the football. And I'm about 5'11", 185 pounds. You should probably be about 6'1", 215 pounds. I wasn't the fastest. I wasn't the strongest. But there's one thing I was good at. I was good at tackling. I wasn't scared of anybody. And the coaches recognize that, and they want me in the game. So come about halfway through the season, in the third quarter, we score a touchdown. Now it's our turn to kick the ball off. So it's my chance to get in the action, keep the momentum going as we just scored a touchdown. So our kicker, he huddles us up, and he calls the play, mortar kick right, which simply is a short, high-arching kick to the right side of the field. And I don't get why we didn't just call it kick right, because our kicker was so bad that every kick was short and high-arching. Anyway, I'm ecstatic because I play on the right side of the field. This is my chance to really keep that momentum going. So I line up on the right side of the field. The ball is kicked. I'm sprinting downfield as hard as I can go. And I see this opening forming. And I know that ball carrier, he's going to run through that hole. He's trying to score a touchdown, and I am going to stop him. I'm going to turn myself into a 185-pound missile aimed right at his legs. However, I mistimed my jump. I miscalculated. Instead of getting my head in front of the ball carrier like I planned, my head hit his legs right on. In an instant, I lose all feeling and movement from my neck down. And I hear the collision of players above me, the whistle blows, the pile clears, but I'm still face down, motionless. I'm trying to get up, but I can't get up no matter how hard I'm trying to push. Nothing is working. I'm screaming at myself, Chris, get up. You have to stand up. They're going to stop the game for you. I started becoming embarrassed that I couldn't get off the field. It just felt like nothing was wrong. It's just someone turned off the power to my body. Just nothing was working. I'm just telling myself, Chris, stand up. You have to stand up. I didn't know at the time I had suffered a severe spinal cord injury, and that it would take me many years before I can stand again, and I would never stand quite the same way. Have you ever had that experience when you think, I've got this, I'm going to make this work, and you go for it? It's something you knew you could do, but then you take a hit. You mistime your move. You're knocked down, and you don't know how to get back up. You don't even know if it's worth the effort to get back up. Everything you've been working for just seems like it's just gone. You've lost. I think in life, we've all taken hits. And maybe at 18 years old, you haven't yet. I know when I was 18 years old as a graduate, I've gone through life pretty unscathed. But as you embark on your new journey, life will knock you down. Now, it's not to scare you, because I'm here to tell you that we can get back up, and that we have what I call the power to stand. And the power to stand is not merely the physical ability to stand, it's to stand up in the face of adversity. It's to stand up for what you believe in. And so, on October 16, 2010, I've learned that it didn't completely ruin my life like I imagined it would. And I've learned from that experience is that in life, when we take these hits, how we choose to stand up will determine our success and our failure. And if I can get through my challenges, so will you. But let me get back to that play. So I'm laying there face down motionless. I'm trying to get up. The trainers run out, and they check on me. Chris, are you feeling okay? Can you move anything? I can't move anything. They asked if you're in pain. I'm not in pain. I'm fine. I just can't move. And so they roll me onto my back, and I make eye contact with one of the student athletic trainers. And that's when I saw the fear. Something wasn't right. But I'm telling myself, you know what? It's going to be okay. You're 18 years old. Bad things happen to other people. I'm from a small town in the Midwest. There's no way something bad can happen to me. It happens to people you watch on television, or you read in the newspaper, or it happens to your commencement speaker. There's no way that could ever happen to me. This isn't part of the plan. They start asking me some questions, like, Chris, can you make a fist with your hand? I try to make a fist. Nothing happens. Chris, can you feel us touching your leg? I couldn't feel a thing. And they keep asking these questions over and over as time goes on, and the answer was the same. Now the stadium of 5,000 people is just completely silent. All the players are down on one knee. the EMTs come out and they check on me, and they call in for a helicopter. And that's when I knew. That's when I knew something serious was going on. And at that point, I just closed my eyes. I just began to pray. Pray to God, just give me the strength to get back up. Please, God, do not change my path. I love my life. Do not change it. Little did I know that he had a better plan for me than the plan I had for myself. And so I'm loaded onto the stretcher, and they're wheeling me across the field. And for those who've been to a sporting event, help me out with this question. What does the audience do when the player's being wheeled off the field? Yeah, they clap. So they all start clapping for me. They break the silence. Then it's typical for the athlete, you acknowledge the crowd. You give them a thumbs up. I'm going to be okay. And I'm thinking about that. I need to let them know I'm going to be okay. And so once again, I went to move my arm to give them that thumbs up. And nothing happened. And my fear inside me just explodes. What's going to happen to me? But now if I could go back to that moment, if I was able to, I would have liked to have been the first athlete to ever give a thumbs down. Not doing so good. Yeah. Yeah. You can quit clapping now. Yikes. Now, if anybody does that, that was my idea. All right. Let's give credit where credit's due. But eventually, I'm loaded into that ambulance and taken to the hospital. And at the hospital is where they prepare me for my helicopter flight to Minnesota. And as I'm waiting there for the helicopter to land, I begin to feel this struggle for air. It felt as if I was breathing in through a straw, and I tell the EMTs that I'm really having a hard time, and they tell me, Chris, we could put a breathing tube down your throat. Put a breathing tube down your throat, it could cause more damage, and I didn't want to cause any more damage, so I decline it. I tell them, I'm going to be fine, and they assure me, Chris, we'll be right next to you the entire flight. If you need us, all three of us will be by your side. We'll give you that. And then their cell phone went off. And and so we get loaded into the helicopter, and I am all focused on that air I wasn't getting. And it gets really loud. My eyes are closed, and all I can think about is if I'm breathing. I can no longer see myself breathe, feel myself breathe. I can't hear it. I think I stopped. My eyes shoot open. I look over to the EMTs, and I'm mouthing to them, help me, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. I'm gasping for air, trying to get as much air as I can, but I can't get anything. That straw was just pinched that I thought I was breathing through. And so I'm trying to get their attention, and nothing was working. And so I closed my eyes, and I do the only thing I could do at this point was just visualize. I just imagined myself, I was breathing. And I just counted each time I felt like my chest could expand. And every time it did, I just kept counting 1, 2, 3. And I keep counting and counting. And eventually, minutes go by. Hey, I'm breathing. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to make it. I'm going to recover from this. It's going to be okay. But how did I go from panic to positive in a matter of moments? From overwhelmed to optimistic? Because my physical ability never changed on the helicopter, so what changed? What changed my reality for me? And I can now reflect on that moment and realize that once I started to focus on the evidence that I could breathe, is when my attitude changed. Instead of focusing on the air that I couldn't get. So we can start focusing on what we are getting instead of what we're not, that's when we can make that shift from panic to positive, from overwhelmed to optimistic. And really in life, what's most important is where you put your attention on. Because how easy is it for us to focus all our attention on our mistakes, our problems, what we're not getting? That's just our natural tendency. But that's a habit that we can break. We have to start collecting the evidence of progress, collecting the evidence of what we're capable of. And this is my first step that I took and that you can take too as you embark on your journey, is to always collect the evidence of what you do have, of what you can do. And that's what's going to make that shift in your life. Let me give you another example. My wife and I, Emily, we're foster parents. We're foster parents of 5 kids. And yes, we're crazy. We've had 11 in our care. One of them was a 17-year-old. And as you can imagine, with 5 children underneath the age of 8 and their backgrounds, it's really chaotic. And it's full of inconveniences. And so when people ask us all the time of, how in the world do you do that, which is a very valid question, we talk about and we focus on the transformation. The transformation that's taking place in their lives. When we can see this little boy go from violent and destructive to this sweet and loving child in a matter of months. To see our 17-year-old whose family has never graduated high school, she finally graduated high school and is now taking college classes. Like, that's what we focus on. We don't focus on the chaos, and because we can focus on that progress and on that transformation, that's the evidence that we're collecting, we love it. We're going to be foster parents forever. And with my injury, people see me in the chair, and they assume I'm miserable. I think what catches people off guard is that I'm a very happy person. I have a great attitude because I focus on the progress I've made the last 7 years. I focus on the difference I can make and what I'm capable of. And because I put my attention there, that reflects my attitude. And I think people underappreciate the perks of being in a wheelchair anyway. And so I kind of want to change that today. So I want to introduce to you my 5 favorite wheelchair perks. And I call it #wheelchair perks. So number 1, I don't feel mosquito bites. I can be at a campfire with 30 mosquitoes in my legs. I don't feel a thing. Number 2, shoes last a really long time. I don't wear my shoes out. They don't get dirty. I save a lot of money that way. Number 3, you can never lose a game of musical chairs. I have an undefeated record. Someone tried pushing me out, and they were disqualified. So, Number 4, not standing in line. While everybody's waiting in line, their feet are tired, their legs are tired, I'm just chilling. Last but not least, number 5, front row parking. Everywhere I go, I got a nice little spot reserved just for me. Unfortunately, in Florida, it's really competitive. As you can see, no matter what situation you're in, no matter your circumstance, we can always be collecting the evidence that builds the case for the life that we really want. And so my question to you now is, what evidence are you collecting? Are you collecting your problems and your mistakes? Or are you collecting evidence of progress? What you've been able to accomplish thus far. And you have a lot to be proud of. So focus on that evidence, and that's really going to shift your whole entire world. After this helicopter experience, I'm at Mayo Clinic, and I have surgery. I wake up the next morning to my worst nightmare. My life was completely flipped upside down. I went from this strong, independent athlete to completely immobile, dependent on everything. And the first conversation I had was with my surgeon. He comes in my room and he tells me, Chris, you have a 3% chance to ever regain any feeling or movement back below your neck. I was stunned. How can this be? I was just living the life of my dreams, and now this. But I had to instantly reject it. I thought, no way, not me. I'm not going to be part of that 97%. I'm going to do whatever it takes to be that 3%. Because you can take away my physical ability, but you will never take away my attitude and my effort. And so I went to work on day one, and the only thing I could do on that first day was to nod my head yes and no. And I nodded my head yes and no for hours. Eventually I looked like a giant bobblehead, just bouncing my head around. And I just kept working. Eventually I shrugged my left shoulder, breaking the odds, but it still wasn't enough. I wanted more. I wanted to walk again. And so I just kept working and working. And during the day, I was pretty positive. I was optimistic. I was a fighter. I was a believer. I had a great support system. But then the lights go out. I'm in bed. I can't move. I feel like I'm strapped to this bed, and I'm trying to break free. And no matter how hard I try, nothing's working. I cry myself to sleep. And I'm constantly asking myself, will I always live like this? Will I ever find a girl that would want to be with me? Will I ever be happy? And I hated going to bed at night. It was the worst. I tried to work myself so hard that I had to go to bed. That was the only way I could try to sleep. And I'll never forget when this angel, though, came in my life on the 4th night of my stay. It was about 3 in the morning, and I can't sleep. I'm restless. I'm upset. And someone comes and checks my vitals every 2 hours. They check my vitals, and then they leave my room. Well, this doctor comes in. She checks my vitals. Then she does something more. She comes over. She gets down on one knee. And she says, Chris, look me in the eyes. And she was kind of mean about it. And so I lock eyes with her. And she says, my name is Georgia. I'm from Wyoming. Do you know anyone from Wyoming? And I said, no. I'm thinking, where's this going? She's this short woman, probably in her 60s, reddish hair, glasses, and she had this voice that sounded like she came from a Western movie. She's had this really authoritative tone, so when she talks, you listen. And so I'm zoned in. And she says, Chris, people from Wyoming, they don't tell lies. And I want you to know, you will beat this. You will beat this. I instantly start crying. I was in such a vulnerable place. I needed to hear those words. I was so scared. I questioned what I was doing. Is this effort worth it? Will I ever get through this? And to hear that from a doctor, someone I looked up to and respected, and to have her give me that confidence and restore my faith that it is worth it to step into that darkness, that was huge for me. And after that moment, I never questioned whether it was worth it to try. And so I reapplied myself to my therapy, and I went to work every single day, all day long. But when I think back on that, do you think Georgia has any idea the significance that she plays in my life? Do any of us realize the significance that we play in each other's lives? Because rarely when we go out of our way and we do something for somebody else, do we ever find out if what we did made a difference? And so a lot of times I feel like that might stop us. That holds us back from being our best selves and from going above and beyond to be there for each other. But as you can see, Georgia had this huge impact on me that just motivated me. But at the same time, as much as you have the ability to encourage someone, to empower someone, to go their way and to overcome whatever challenges they're going through, you can also discourage someone. And I had that discouraging moment 5 weeks later. And I'm still progressing. I'm making some good gains. I have some movement in my arms, feeling, but I want to walk, and I have no movement in my legs. But at this 5th week mark, I feel this new sensation in my left big toe. I can't move it. I'm trying, but there's something special going on. I don't know what it is, and I'm going to ask my doctor. Maybe he could explain this odd sensation coming from my left big toe. So he comes in my room. I'm with my dad. We're excited, and I tell him. I can tell right away he wasn't really interested. And so I'm begging him to take a look. Just take my shoe off. I know there's something going on. And he refused. He began to lecture me that, Chris, you're experiencing a phantom feeling. And phantom feelings happen a lot to people in your situation where you want to believe you can feel something differently, but you just made it up. It's a trick that your brain is playing on you. But I knew what I was feeling. I knew it was real, and I wasn't making it up. And then he says, Chris, you'll never move anything in your legs ever again. And he turns, walks out like it was no big deal. I'll never forget my dad. He broke down crying. I've never seen my dad cry before. And he's the strongest person I know. And he turns to me with tears in his eyes and he says, Chris, do not let anyone tell you what you can or cannot do. I look back at him with tears in my eyes. He said, I never will. And I responded with more hope and determination than ever before. I'm going to prove this doctor wrong. And so what started out as 1 hour therapy eventually grew to 3 hours. 3 hours wasn't enough, so I asked for a 4th hour. They said no. I asked, well, why not? And they said, well, no one's ever asked for a 4th hour. I eventually got that 4th hour. I asked for a 5th hour because 4 hours was not enough. And they said no again. And this time they meant it. I never got it. But instead, I had my physical therapist who worked with my lower body, my occupational therapist who worked with my upper body. I had them write up a workout I can do on my own outside of my scheduled therapy time. And when you can work as hard as you possibly can, good things will come. And not even a week later, on Thanksgiving morning, of all mornings, I wiggled that exact left big toe. He said I would never move again. I was pumped. I was fired up. I told every person who came in my room that day, you go find that doctor, who I now call Dr. Phantom. Bring Dr. Phantom in here and tell him to phantom this. As I wiggle my toe in his face. I had a lot of things I wanted to tell him. Thankfully, he was gone that day. But it's amazing that toe wiggle, it grew to be so much more. I started to get strength back in my quads, my hamstrings, and eventually being able to stand up. But there's so many things that you could take from that. But when you think about those two stories of Georgia and Dr. Phantom, two experiences that were really shaped by how we treat people, about what we say and how we say it. And so my goal for you, my step I would like you to take is to be a Georgia. I want you to be that person, that light in the world, to give people love, to give them the faith. Not that they can do it, that they will. See that difference of not you can do it, you will do it. Give people that confidence and that ability, because Georgia completely changed my life, and if we can all be more like a Georgia, I think this world would be such a better place. And it's something else to consider is that we don't know what someone else is going through. People take a quick look at me, they see my challenges, and I now have the privilege of seeing the best in people. People are so nice to me, and I appreciate that. But here's something that we don't always consider is that most of our challenges you can't see. You can't see someone going through anxiety, depression. You can't see the loss of a loved one on someone else. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean we should guess and assume that we're not struggling, because we're human. We all struggle. We all go through something. So let's always remember to be that Georgia to each and every one of us. So I guarantee you there's someone in this room right now who's going through more difficulty and challenges than what I'm facing. You just can't see it. So let's remember to be a Georgia. So after this time in the hospital, which was about 7 months, I eventually go back to college the following fall, and I set this goal that I'm going to walk across the stage of my college graduation. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but that's going to be the goal. And I had this focus, and I knew that my future was going to take care of itself when I took care of today. Your future will take care of itself when you take care of today. And so with that mindset, I just applied myself each and every day, and I made my graduation walk a success 4.5 years later, which was viewed across the world 300 million times. And something that was really neat, before that experience, I actually proposed to my girlfriend at the time, Emily, to be my wife. Here's a photo of our proposal. And this was the day before my graduation walk. I was more nervous for the proposal than the actual walk. Thankfully, she said yes. It would have been really awkward if she would have said no. But we weren't done there. After the graduation walk, we saw this opportunity that maybe we could inspire more people. After 300 million people see it and we're encouraged by it, maybe there's more that we can do. Maybe we can be a light for someone else. And so with that in mind, I set the goal that I'm going to walk her 7 yards down the aisle of our wedding after we're married. And to walk her 7 yards after 7 years, and to do it side by side the same way we're going to enter our life together. And so now I want to show you the results of 7 years of perseverance, 7 years of collecting the evidence, of being a Georgia for others and going above and beyond. And this happened about a month and a half ago on April 21st. But I want you to see how hard work and stepping into that darkness, just how beautiful really life can be.
I, Chris, take you, Emma,
For my lawful wife,
for my lawful wife,
to have and to hold, from this day forward,
from this day forward,
I, Emily, take you, Chris,
for my lawful husband,
for my lawful husband,
to have and to hold,
to have and to hold
from this day forward.
from this day forward.
Based on the vows you have shared before God and these witnesses, by the authority committed to me as a representative of Jesus Christ and His church, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Chris, you may kiss your bride.
Thank you. It's amazing to think to go from this tragedy to the best day of my life, and that this accident is the source of my greatest blessings. And as you go through in life, you're going to take hits. You're going to get knocked down. But if you can remember to find that power to stand in you, to collect the evidence, to be a Georgia, that life can be such a beautiful thing. And to think back on that play, and if I could go back to that play to change it, I wouldn't. Because I found a life and a purpose that's worth living for. Now I have the privilege to travel the country giving motivational speeches, to write a book with my dad, and to work on one with Emily, my wife, and to start a foundation, to be part of this documentary, 7 Yards, by a film company based in Dallas. All these things have come from that injury. And so when I hear people say that they can't, what they really mean is they won't. Because the fact is, when you collect the evidence and you be a Georgia, anything is possible. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. No, I'll stand my ground. Won't be.
Chris, thank you for sharing your story, and thank you most of all for sharing your heart. Let's give him one more round of applause. Class of 2018, congratulations. You have achieved something few others have. You are graduating from an IB World School. This is indeed an impressive accomplishment. Let's give them a round of applause. The faculty and I are so proud of you. As we talk about you collectively, we know that you are ready to take this next step in your journey and to write the extraordinary story of you. We know you are prepared, head and shoulders above your contemporaries, and ready to face the challenges that life passes your way or comes your way. You began this journey, this new chapter, at some of the world's finest institutions of higher learning, from Stanford to the University of Southern California to the University of Virginia and Davidson, and so many other colleges and universities in between. We have great hope for each of you, for we know that you have been given the gift of an IB World education. You know the value of international mindedness and the power of thinking globally and acting locally. There is no doubt that these are powerful tools that will serve you well. But you've been given more. You have been given the opportunity to develop the attributes of the IB learner profile. We know that you are open-minded thinkers who are knowledgeable of the world and able to effectively communicate the human condition in a reflective, caring, and principled manner. You are risk takers in your disciplined inquiries of your world as you balance the complexities of your lives. As we give you this last piece of advice, please think about the words and the story that Chris shared with you today, because I think that it will have a larger impact on you. We want you to know, and we want you to remember, that there is power in the struggle and beauty in the journey. You have heard throughout your lives that you are fortunate, incredible, brilliant, clever, caring people, destined for greatness. This is true. We know this. Still, no matter how bright or fortunate you are, there will be struggles. Days that challenge your resolve and days that try to knock you off your game. Be thankful for these times. Be thankful for these moments. It is in these moments that you are able to define yourself and discover your true talents. Think of it like this. Strength doesn't come from what you can do. It comes from overcoming the things that you once thought you couldn't do. As I pondered these words, I thought about our Westlake Academy house namesakes, and I wondered what they would say or what advice they would be able to give us in this regards. Helen Keller tells us, the struggles of life is one of the greatest blessings. It makes us patient, sensitive, and godlike. It teaches us that although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of the overcoming of it. She continues by asserting that character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experiences of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. Walt Whitman tells us that when we are in the heat of the moment and feel like we're about to be knocked off our game, we must remember that happiness is not in another place, but this place. Not for another hour, but this hour. I urge you to pause in these moments and find the beauty in your journey. Our wish for you is that you take the opportunity to own these moments and to harness the power that lies within. Whitman warns us, either define the moment or the moment will define you. Make no mistake, success is your destiny. As the Chinese proverb states, every path has puddles. So when you find yourself at one of these puddles or right in the middle of it, remember that you have choices. You can go around it or you can plow right through it. It is simply a matter of choice. We must recognize that where there is no struggle, there is no strength. And never forget that most obstacles melt away when we make up our minds to walk boldly through them. David Henry Thoreau gives us powerful advice as well. He states that what lies before us and what lies behind us are small matters compared to what lies within us. And when you bring what is out into the world, miracles happen. He advises us to overcome when he says that he has learned that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. Finally, Phyllis Wheatley's words of encouragement in these moments are to enlarge the closed mind and fill it with fire. We have the utmost confidence in your ability to leave your imprint on this world by fanning the flames of your gift of an IB World education. You are inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring people who can create a better and more peaceful world. It is your time. Blaze a trail that is uniquely stamped by your gifts. Please help me congratulate the graduating class of 2018.
Will the first row please rise? Rachel Mariah Archangel. Sabrina Aslam. Garrett Dean Bartels. Nathaniel Ian Broadfield. Miriam Henna Bakari. Mackenzie K. Bumgardner. Laurel Elise Champagne. Hunter Cade Cochran. Anna Saskia Connolly. Bobby Laurie Krim. Nicholas Alexander Kusin. Sophia Catherine DePompo. Anna Frances Desautel. Matthew Paul Dickerson. Lauren Alexandra DeFilippo. Caleb Josiah Falcon. John Mark Ferguson. Robert Eugene Fitzgerald II. Natalia Isabella Freire. Shannon Noel Gallagher. Alicia Elena Grauty. Kaylee Diane Hamilton. Emma Peyton Hansen. Abigail Grace Harrell. Sydney Rose Henderson. Madison Lee Hudson. Sarah Ismale. Benjamin Garrett Jepson. Bryn Alexandria Jones. Eleanor Rose LaFrisco. Gregory Giuliani Lombardi Lopes. Jillian Rose Long. Sofia Martinez Murillo. Nathaniel Anand Matthews. Justin Mike McClelland. Ryan Blake McKinney. Shelby Kaylin McClellan. Aiden Lewis Mesa. John Luke Miller. Francis Joseph Mohan. Andres Monroy Garcia. Jada Mai Injay. Nina Gabrielle Perdue. Jude Michael Perry. Austin James Peterson. Hanya Pillai. Jordan Monroe Roberts. Vivian Elise Santillan. Tanner James Scott. Tyler Chase Simpson. Anand Bagel Singh. Madison Lily Spencer. Cassidy Faith Stoltenberg. Brianna Lene Taylor. Elliot Martin Taylor. Emily Catherine Thompson. Alexandria Jordan Tillett Miller. Riley Rebecca Timmerman. Mia Lauren Titus. Trudy Abigail Troublefield. Faith Anna Voigt. Alexis Verlin Walker. Lauren Lynn Ware. Dylan Joe Wells. Olivia Marie Withers.
Good afternoon. The Honorable Laura Wheat, the Westlake Academy Board of Trustees, Superintendent Tom Breimer, Executive Director Dr. Michelle Bryson, and honored guests. I have the distinct privilege of presenting the class of 2018 to you for confirmation. They have satisfactorily fulfilled all of the high school graduation requirements prescribed by the Texas Education Agency and Westlake Academy. The faculty and administration can confirm that the members of the class of 2018 are now officially graduates from the Westlake Academy. Graduates, please move your tassel from right to left. Congratulations to the 2018 graduates. Welcome, new alumni.
Other dad. Hey, man, congratulations to you, man. Thank you. Coach, thank you. Congratulations. What's up, boy? We're going to beat y'all September 14th. Oh, don't even go. I won't be there. Thank you so much. All right, man. All right. Right, on the back. Good job, good job, good job.